I think I like the job the coach is doing. I think I like everything they are doing right now. It reminds me of when Mourinho came to Chelsea and the kind of battle mindset they had. I mean, yeah. The kind of battle mindset they have now. So I am praying and hoping that they play their game. If they play their game against AC Milan, they are almost going to win. That they're going to qualify. I don't think Dortmund will be putting much energy into the game again, having qualified already. So they might be featuring more of their second team.
Transit TV, welcome to Reggie Football Show. Back again with my regulars, my regular musketeers. I have Boom on the show today as usual. Chioma is here as well. Justice is joining us in a second. We are looking at the last weekend's games. There were some very tasty, exciting, and interesting games last weekend, starting with Liverpool traveling to Etihad, the city. Two teams that were first and second at the beginning of the weekend. And we also had Newcastle host Chelsea. And of course, Arsenal dug it out with Brentford as well. So there are some very exciting games over the weekend. We'll look at those games and try to expunge the key issues or things that happen in those games and figure out what's going on. Chelsea, are they back, or it was a flash in the pan? Arsenal, of course, we know at the end of the weekend went top of the league. City and Liverpool looking up to catch with Arsenal. So we're going to look at those games. Kai Havertz, of course, Thomas man is coming through, scoring in that game after coming in as a sub and giving Arsenal the lifeline. So with me today, like I said earlier, is Ubum, Chioma, and Justice. Guys, you are welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much, Reggie. It's a pleasure to be here. It's nice to have both Justice and Chioma on the panel today as well. Welcome everyone listening to Transit TV today. We encourage you to like, subscribe, and please share with your friends.
Chioma, good to see you. I like this. You're coming. You always come in different. Today, I don't even know. I want to read to you. Is it like, are you Miriam or you're Chioma? I don't know.
Oh, okay. So today is the hair turban. I'm in the North Central, Abuja to be precise.
So this is what or
yeah, the beautiful women in North Central wear. So I'm channeling Amina today in case you hear me saying, I'm Amina for the show. It's just me. Thank you so much, our dear subscribers. Thank you. Ugum. Welcome, Mr. Justice. Thank you, Reggie. Let's do good.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. Justice, thank you for showing up. I thought the Chelsea fans were going to do a Makara statement for us today, having been annihilated by Newcastle over the weekend. Thank you for being bold and coming to represent the blue side of London. Good to see you on the show.
Thank you for welcoming me, and I'm happy to be here. Sorry I joined in a little bit late, but I'm here now. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you. Yeah, viewers, don't forget, if you are new to the channel, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel on our road to 5,000 subscribers. And let us, of course, stay with us on the show and let us know your thoughts on what we're going to be discussing today. It's going to be, it promises to be an exciting one. For that matter, the weekend started with City hosting Liverpool. Obviously, these two teams, the last decade in the EPL, have fought it out. Of course, Pep Guardiola recognized the fact that Klopp has been his major competitor since he arrived in England. So now, in the build up to that game, we knew that it was going to be an exciting one of the best shows of the weekend of the season so far in EPL. And he lived to be that. That game ended in a 1-1 draw. City scoring first, and Liverpool coming back with a very sumptuous equalizer from Trent Arnold, which made sure that the two teams share the points and of course set the stage for Arsenal to go top of the league at the end of the weekend. That they did. Of course, we know that they did that, though through the eye of the needle, last minute goal from Kai Havertz. So, guys, let's look at the City Liverpool game. First of all, that game kicked off at lunchtime, which I don't know, Klopp, I don't know how he dug up that statistics and was complaining that Liverpool has played more lunchtime games after international break than any other team in EPL. I don't know how he came up with that. So that was a kind of talk of build up to that game. But I mean, Liverpool still showed that that did not affect them, and they went to City and played nice football. Didn't allow themselves to be dominated, and the game was very exciting. Uguma, let me start with you. What was your general? How did you see that game?
I enjoyed it. Reminded us of what we used to experience about 3 or so years ago. The rivalry between Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp, two top-class managers with top-class sides. There's been an evolution from Liverpool since they met last, since they competed, for the league title with City. But Liverpool are resurgent, and they still have some of their old young reliables like Arnold. He was really young when they were dominant a couple of years ago. Now he's maturing and now plays a different role in the team, more in the midfield than more like an inverted fullback playing in the midfield than a normal fullback that supplies the crosses. Hence, he was in a position to score that goal that he did. So it was a nice game. It was, a reminder of what we used to see and what used to be on show between those two sides. I thought both of them played really well. I thought, they were evenly matched. I thought Liverpool, of course, have that slight edge psychologically over City for some reason, because they've always been a boogie side, so to speak, for City. And they showed that in the game, the way they approached it with confidence. And they gave as much as they got. City, of course, also played well. Again, we noticed a bit of frailty as compared to how invincible they were towards winning the Premiership last season. And so, as usual, the old reliable Haaland took his chance and scored, and then Liverpool didn't go away. They kept plugging until they got rewarded with Trent Arnold. It was also a tale of two goalkeepers, two renowned goalkeepers that kind of struggled a little bit, one way or the other. But still, you can count on those two Brazilians any day, any time. So I enjoyed the game.
Yeah, thank you. I hear you there. Chioma, anytime Liverpool is going to have a high-profile game, there's always this talk about Trent being a weak link, especially defensively for Liverpool. Of course, everybody knows what he offers going forward. And in this game, at the beginning, it looked like Doku was going to cook him in that match. He started on a very sharp note. But somehow, Doku, of course, tried to run rugged, but there wasn't really an end product to all that. Whereas on the other end, Trent was the one that provided the equalizer for Liverpool. So who do you think won that battle? Or how did you see that one pan out?
Well, I'm actually a Trent fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for his Ugu mentioned when he was too young. In my head, I have the whole theory of emancipation of Trenty, from the usual pass the ball, cross the ball, take the ball across the yard, throw the ball across the yard to a formidable midfielder. Of course, we saw I think his midfield activities actually was solidified when Southgate took him up and decided to, keep making use of him in the midfield. Yeah, so for me, Doku is what he thinks he is maybe in 4 seasons to come. in the wings, yeah. But his wings are easily clipped. I don't know if you've seen that. I'm not speaking as an Arsenal fan, the whole Saliba, everything. But Doku, if you charge at Doku, you can contain him. He's not very Jack Grealish. It's hard to contain the likes of Grealish, but Doku is easily contained. So if you say Doku versus Trenty is my guy. Because when we start talking about the stamina, the height, he will run circles around Doku, of course. So I think Trenty won that battle. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on this one. I kind of feel that Doku, with all his trickery, lacks some intelligence needed to have the end product. Yeah, some games it looks like he finds his mettle, but for the most part, he reminds me of this former Newcastle player, Max.
Maxima, the green guy.
Yeah,
Maxima.
People rave about him. I don't like him because I don't feel he's intelligent enough. He has the talent, but his end product for me doesn't equal the talent that he has. That's the way I'm seeing Doku right now. Though I know if he spends some time with Pep, like you said, he's going to work on his game. I still don't understand why he chooses to start him over Grealish, because Pep normally takes his time to groom players into what he wants them to be before he starts to use them. But in his own case, he has been thrown into the justice. Let me touch base with you. There's another match that I was looking at when I was watching that game. Nunes against Haaland. Now you see Haaland, the goal that Haaland scored, touch, pam. You can say what you want to say about Haaland doesn't get involved much in the build-up of play and stuff. Sometimes he looks that his goals are easy, but it takes somebody that knows where the goalkeeper is, where the goal is, and the right time to take a shot to score the goals that he scored. Before Haaland got that goal, I think Nunes had one or two chances, and he took more than one or two touches, and the chance was gone. But the other side, Haaland got the chance, one touch before the defenders could react. He took his chance. So do you think Nunes? What do you think Nunes needs to do to get up there? He has a physical presence. He looks to me like a player that's industrial. He works hard for the team, but somehow he doesn't get the goals that fall on his path.
So about Nunes, I personally think that he's can I call him a very, very good raw material? I think he's a very good raw material for Liverpool, but they need to give him time to finalize, his games. So I feel that in the next season or two, he'll be a better player than he is. But Haaland is already a very, very prolific striker, even before now. So they are not at the same level. But Nunes was also good at Benfica, but coming to Liverpool, a new league and all that, he's still adapted. I think with time, I'm currently watching the Liverpool match, so I think that with time he's going to come good. He's going to come good. He's going to come good. So let's give him time.
Yeah, I believe, I hope so, because at this level there's not much time. This is the second season in Liverpool now. So I don't think he has much of that time. The earlier he starts to, I know Gumi used to say that he hits the post more than he scores. And probably if you check his statistics, how many times he has hit the post, I'm sure he has scored more goals hitting the post than actually having the ball inside the net. One of the interesting things that came out from that game, like we mentioned, Liverpool had do like a boogie team for City in the last decade. And this happened again in this match. Of course, City was dominant in the first half, but Guardiola used Akonji as to do the John Stones role, and that he did very well. He stepped into the midfield a lot of times and ran the show. But of course, Liverpool came back second half when Klopp did the substitutions, and they took over the show and put City under pressure and got the result that they deserved. On the other hand, Pep, we know, I don't know how he does it. Most times on these big games, he refuses to use his substitution. Notwithstanding that they're already qualified for next round of Champions League. I wouldn't say he's resting players for Champions League, but he refused to use his subs. I don't know if I would say that backfired or to him, that was just what it is. So, Lily, good to see you, bro. Let me ask you, how do you see, do you rate Klopp as a coach that has better strategy to win these big games over Pep?
Yeah. Again, what I saw were when two giants or two elephants fight. It's the ground that suffers, So it was two giants, two elephants fighting. And I think these are experienced coaches that have won it, that have done it before, and won the Premiership before. So I think when all of this happened, I think Klopp is a great coach. Just as I stated, I don't expect anything more than Manchester City and Liverpool fighting for the top two positions by the time the season ends. They showed it, and I would say it was a balanced game, but I think give or take, what I expected from some players, it just didn't show up. And on the big games, as you said, Pep sometimes overthinks, and when he overthinks, he falls prey to other coaches. He would admit he overthinks on some of the decisions that he makes. But lo and behold, I think it was a great game. A draw was a good, fair result, and we're going to see how the season plays out. But I think Pep has his well oiled, and the introduction of what's his name, Grazenbach, what's his name, I keep forgetting. Yeah. That
it gets into some problems. Yeah,
is that African energy, man. That black man energy just came in, and it changed a lot. So I expect this to go both teams to go tiptoe throughout the season.
Yeah, I hear you on that. For me, a few things I also took note of was Alisson. Sometimes he I don't know. Sometimes it looks like he comes to the field with an agenda to undermine his team, regardless of how good we know him. I know he got away with one there. The goal that was disallowed for me, there was no foul there. I remember last season Ramsdale considered the goal that was even worse than that. I think he got away with that one. I also feel that Liverpool need to do something about their defensive midfield position. I don't think he's strong enough to go to compete for the league this season. I know Klopp is trying to use more of pressure and pressing forward to overwhelm teams. But if they go against teams who have what it takes to play behind the midfield, I think they're going to struggle with it. Yeah, like you guys have said, I think it was a very interesting game. I enjoyed every second of that game. And that tells us what we're going to see from now going forward in the season. These two teams, of course, are going to be up there competing for the title. Arsenal have managed to go top, but we'll see how that pans out. So the next game for the weekend, that was, of course, again, very exciting, had a very strong build-up to it. We looked at that game before the weekend and made our, talked about it, made our assertions and predictions. Chelsea traveling to Newcastle after the few good results that they got annihilating Tottenham the other day. One thought that Chelsea was going to continue in that manner. But of course, we know it found out the other way around. Newcastle, they are very clinical, were dominant, took their chances. On the other hand, Chelsea looked like people who were not sure of what they came to do on the day. And a lot of Chelsea fans are blaming Poch for his team selection. And this is a feeling I don't really share that much. Yeah, but Chelsea fans have argument on that. Ray, you welcome to the show. I know you have interest on this one as a Chelsea fan. What did you make about that game? Do you think team selection had any role to play as regards the outcome of that match?
I went into that game. Was I expecting so much? No.
Ray,
Was I
your camera
hopeful
is a
that?
little bit up. We're not seeing your face.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Was I expecting so much? No. Was I hoping that something could turn out? Yes. And was I praying for maybe a draw? Yes. The truth is, from the onset, if you see when the players walked into the pitch, you could decide which team was going to win the day. Chelsea didn't look like they were in for a battle. They were so reluctant, and Newcastle looked so gingered for the game. And as the game started, you could see that progress in the real game. So I am not surprised they got embarrassed. They expected better, but I mean, it's what it is. It's a game. But you wouldn't want to lose like that. Having won certain games prior to that, having like looked like they were gelling, you always expect a real match between two quality teams. But like Chelsea came to that match individually. There were just few players who were out to play, and maybe fatigue, maybe travels, maybe the break thing. But at the end of the day, Newcastle have shown that they are looking up to something and they're really working hard on that. And I mean, they showed quality, they showed strength, they were ready to fight for every ball, and they were really good at that game. Chelsea still has a lot of work to do. Do I like Poch? No. Do I pray he succeeds? Yes. So sorry about that, Chioma. I like people who like trophies. I don't like people who like playing good football. I like people who love trophies. I don't think he loves trophies. I think he just likes to play a game, So yeah, I expect more from Chelsea, and I believe as the time progresses, they'll get better.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. So what do you think about the team? Do you think the team selection played a role? Because Chelsea fans are saying that why did you play Badisha ahead of Disasi and bench Caicedo? That the team was already gelling, and why would you go obstruct the flow? Do you think
It's
that has
easy
been...
to always say that. It's easy to always say that, but you're not on ground, so you don't know. How do I put it? You don't know exactly how these guys return from their travels. You wouldn't know who has a knock. You wouldn't know who's tired and fatigue and all that. I think it's the management and the crew that will always decide that, I mean, this man is fit enough to start a game. And let's not make a mistake. Everybody was bought because they were good.
Exactly.
You were in Chelsea because you're good. I don't think Chelsea goes for any player. They just buy you because you are fit to play for them. The Badisel guy has been doing good. He has played some wonderful matches, and you will expect him to. That the match turned out bad, and then you want to blame it on. No. The team didn't gel from the dressing room. Like, if you can remember their entrance to the pitch, you will see how the lackluster thing was all. You can see that picture clearly in there.
Already sure, yeah.
Yeah, so, and before the game started, you could see Newcastle trying to remind themselves that they had a game plan. And Chelsea was not there.
No, I hear you.
In the game proper, you will see that Chelsea was just like Jackson, I don't think he's a striker. He might do better as a midfielder. He might do better as a midfielder because, he likes to play stylish football, make some dribbles and some good passes. But maybe in desperation, he's becoming too selfish. Sterling plays good, but I mean, there is no teamwork yet. There is nobody playing for the team. Everybody's playing for himself. There is no that Chelsea thing, like, let's go out there and go win. I don't care who scores the goal. Let's just go there, battle, win. Like I will always tell you, like I never liked Conte because you're going to Barcelona and you're already giving up. Your pitch, your everything was praising Messi and not your team. So the moment you do that, I mean, you're telling me you don't want to lose badly. You just want to lose like, maybe 1-0, 2-0 down. You didn't want to lose badly. And that's, where it ended for me. Like, I don't want to see him again.
Yeah, I hear you guys, and rightly so. I've heard the ex-pros say that sometimes in the tunnel they look into the eyes of the opponents. So when they're playing now, you can see fear. I remember the Invincible. They used to say that you can see fear in the eyes of the opponent, and once that happens, they know that this one is going to be a win for them. Yeah, those things happen. Justice, let me ask you. Talk to me about individual mistakes, and this happened with very important players in the team. People you expected to be the ones to hold the team together. Thiago Silva has been a mainstay for Chelsea since he arrived at Stamford Bridge this season. Regulars on this channel know that I've been talking about him. That for me, it is a disaster that Chelsea still has him as a mainstay on the defense at 39 years. Not that he's not good enough, but at his age, I don't expect him to be playing week in, week out, and he still does. I think this is the second high-profile mistake he has made this season, costing Chelsea a game. Then on the other hand, Reece James is a player that Chelsea fans, Chelsea players, managers, everybody that belongs to Chelsea has been crying about missing a player I like so much that brings a lot to the table for the team. Again, he failed the team on this occasion, collecting 2 stupid yellow cards and making Chelsea finally fold in that game. So talk to me about individual mistakes. And like Ray mentioned, is something that Chelsea needs to find it. The team still doesn't play like a team. Jackson, is he misfit? For me, I feel that he has a confidence issue. He doesn't really want to be the main man. So he just tries to get himself busy around the pitch so that it look like he's doing something as against staying up there and trying to drive the team forward. I don't know what you think about these 3 players and the role they played in that game.
So I want to, can you hear me? I want to
Yeah.
go a little back from what Mr. Ray said. I don't think any manager will be in football and not love to win trophies. I don't think that personally, that any manager will be in the team coaching each week in, week out, and has no intention of winning a trophy. I don't think that is possible. That's number one. And also, I think the choice of Badashile was because of the height of Liverpool players. What do you call it now? Newcastle players. A lot of them, they have giants, they have Jolinton, they have guys, the cells and all that. They are giants. Most of them are like very healthy guys. Isaac and all that. They are almost giants in that team. So I think Badashile was put because of the area threats which Newcastle posed to Chelsea. But it didn't turn out well. But rightly, as Ray said as well, the players came to play on their own. There was no cohesion, there was no team play and all that. But I also think it's something that takes time because these are young talents. But on the case of Newcastle is a very defined team, a very good. Most of them, you can call them average players, but they are very, very experienced. Those guys, they are very experienced. They are international, full internationals that are very experienced. So they know how to really get attention, going for the second balls, causing them errors and all that. So even a depleted Newcastle team, they showed effort, they showed strength, and make sure they put Chelsea to make those mistakes and all that. But in the case of Thiago Silva is still in Chelsea because maybe his leadership role. I think they're still trying to use him to get the guys, together. But I don't know how he's turning. He has made 2 mistakes, as you rightly said. But I watched the post-match interview and the post-match comment. He has apologized and he's so sorry about it. But as a leader, the guys are also responding to him. Because what I do mostly after matches, I look at their post, I look at the response from the team. You can see the teams are also encouraging him to go on. For Reece James is not at his level yet. So he's still, not here and not there. So he's still trying to get back to form. And those mistakes were avoidable. So, but it's unfortunate that he has made that mistake. But I know that his James will bounce back. I really believe in him. He's such a player I love so much. And he carries the DNA of Chelsea, my club. So I am with his James. So he will get better.
So just let me tell you, do you think Chelsea approached the game wrongly? Knowing that Newcastle at home are like wounded lions, they come at you, and with the atmosphere and all that, do you think maybe Chelsea would have been a little bit more conservative in that game and try to contend Newcastle as against playing expansive football at the Tyneside?
I don't think that being conservative would have helped Chelsea in that game. What would have helped them is, matching the Liverpool. Like if you listen to the post-match press conference by Poch, it was about they are not aggressive enough. They are not fighting for the ball. So it's just like if there's a ball in front of you, you miss the contest and you sluggishly walk towards the player. You need to tackle. You need to make sure you go for the ball. And your opponent will see this in you, that you're actually after the ball, than just a lackluster performance and a lackluster behavior about the ball. So there's this aggressiveness that are lacking in just. It's not about, if they're conservative, it will have been worse, because these guys, we come at them. They have the experience. Newcastle really have the experience, but they were not aggressive enough to actually apply the game. Conservativeness wouldn't have.
Okay, I hear you. Ugum, are you there? Yeah, you remember when we are previewing these games, we were even worried for Newcastle, the injuries that they had. But surprisingly, Amiron returned to the game. Isaac returned as well. It looked like all of a sudden Newcastle didn't really miss as much as we thought they were going to miss players for that game. Of course, Isaac returned with scored the goal, got the early goal for the team, and Amiron ran ragged on the wings as usual, as he normally does. Also, what do you think made Newcastle? What did they do that made them be like night and day against Chelsea on this game?
Newcastle are a very physical, very determined, very aggressive side.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that they go to, their default game is to get in your face, dominate as much as possible physically, and then see if they can suppress you with the way that they play the game. When we were analyzing or previewing this game last week, I remember I had a difference in opinion with Nimi. Unfortunately, Nimi isn't here. We had a difference in position in terms of how he thought Newcastle would approach the game. Nimi thought Newcastle would pack the bus and not come at Chelsea because Chelsea is a big side. And I was saying that the EPL is a very perceptive league. It's all about what your opponent thinks about you. If they feel that they can come at you, they will come at you in the EPL. They don't hesitate. And whatever they get, they get. But if they feel like you're much better than them, then they will be more conservative in their approach. So I thought that at the point where Chelsea is right now, that Newcastle wouldn't have been scared of Chelsea, so much scared as to, play a conservative, packing the bus kind of game. I thought they would come out, and that's what they did. They came out fighting. Justus made a very good point. I don't think that sitting back would have helped Chelsea in any way. I think that it would have been a case of, a tit for a tat. You match them for physicality, match them for aggression. Yes, I know Newcastle tend to have a lot of big, tall, muscular players, but Chelsea as well had guys that could match them pace for pace. I like the fact that they played Leslie Ugochukwu in that game. I thought Chelsea were a bit, would I say timid, or maybe would I say naive, or they were just not up for it. If they were up for the physical battle, I'm sure they would have probably gotten more out of the game than they did. So Newcastle, if they smell blood like that and they feel like you're not matching them for that, they did it to Arsenal 2 seasons ago. pin you to the wall and, you know, have their way as much as they can with you. So that's what happened when they realized that Chelsea weren't putting up as much resistance as they would have expected. They capitalized on that and scored goals.
Yeah, Chioma, I hear you, I hear you, and I think I agree with all you just said right there. Chioma, let me touch base with you. You know, there's this popular talk about young players, give them time, they're still young, they're growing up, they're coming up, and stuff like that, and rightly so. But in Newcastle, you have two boys, Anthony Gordon and Riley, and these boys ran the show. These boys played like, I mean, Riley is just 17 years, and the way he played in that game, you would think he'd been in EPL for 5 seasons. Talk to me about those two boys.
I think it's very easy. It's a very something that meets the eye. So going to Newcastle, talking about Gordon, and you're forgetting the Chelsea boy, Livramento, however they say his name.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the young boys in
Exactly,
Newcastle.
yeah, the three of them, yeah.
But then I think what we should know is you have the likes of Burns, the likes of, what's his name, Wilson, the likes of Trippier. Trippier happens to be the shortest player in Newcastle, by the way. He's 5-something. So these guys are men that offer experience. They offer experience, they offer range. So it's easy to buy that 16-year-old boy in Barcelona, what's his name now? Take him to a team like Newcastle, and he learns under the tutelage of men like this men I mentioned, and they are put together. Do you understand? So I can tell you that Newcastle, if there was something they did after they moneyed up, it was the fact that they kept their older men, the elder statesmen, and then they moved in the younger ones. Well, I would like to say Almiron is part of the young ones, and then our boy from Arsenal, and then the likes of those, you know, tiny boys.
Longstaff as well.
Exactly. Longstaff, yeah. So now let's go to Chelsea. Chelsea would have had this blessing of having, you know, Pochettino, a groomer. Pochettino is a very tidy person. We know he can raise your cheeks and your cheeks will bloom. Do you understand? And make you an okay team. He did it with Tottenham, but they never, you know, got a cup. So Chelsea could have done this, but they let all the elder statesmen go. I mean, imagine if Chelsea at this time had the likes of what's his name before my Anambra tongue ties, Azpilicueta. Am I saying it right?
Azpilicueta,
yeah. You know, when men like that were in Chelsea, and when people like, do you understand? So these guys don't even have, they don't have many players to look up to. So I think for me, I think that's the problem. Now we're talking about Silva. Silva is older. His experience is there, but his mileage is dropping. Now they are not going to let him go because their captain is actually like, he breaks like a doll. I'm so sorry. So they need to actually make sure that he doesn't break all through the season to know if, you know, something like that. So they don't have that oomph.
Yeah.
That elder something is not there yet. But will they get there? Yes, they'll get there. Am I rooting for Chelsea? Unbelievably, I am, because come on, you don't waste $1 billion on people just to, you know, decorate something. I believe they can. But Chelsea of now versus Newcastle of this season, no. It's a marriage that will never happen. They married the likes of Arsenal and others, but that marriage will never happen.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. Nimi, are you ready to? We're moving on from this game. I know you have interest. You have a few things to say on this game. Are you there? Nimi. Yeah. So I think Nimi is busy. We'll move on when he joins us. Yeah, that game was very, very intense, very interesting. Newcastle, of course, like we mentioned, tried to bully Chelsea as much as they could, and that they did in every facet of the game, especially your man, Joelinton, and Bruno Guimaraes was on another level that day. He played like a lion. Joelinton, like Ugo mentioned the last time we were previewing this game, I don't think he's an intelligent player, but I mean, he has the energy, gets around the pitch and, you know, helps the team to fight. and that he did against Chelsea, and even got his goal. So who would like question him? So for me, Newcastle had a field day. Chelsea got it wrong. Like Ray said, the approach from day one wasn't right for the occasion, and they couldn't, stand Newcastle in any way, and they were blown away. And this is what EPL does to you, that people mentioned. If you're not ready, you will just be blown away, regardless of who it is. And when we are here the other time, Wolves took 3 points from City, and it was like a film, but it happened. So that's EPL for you, regardless of how good, regardless of the politics that you have in your pitch, on your team. If you not have the right attitude for the day, on the day, the other team will just take you apart and move on. So then, round up for us, we have already finished Chelsea, Newcastle. What was your general view? Ubuma has called you out there, reminding us about the preview of this game, when he told you that Newcastle was not going to respect Chelsea and play a defensive game in that match. They were going to come at Chelsea, and that Newcastle did. I don't know what you have to say about.
Well, they say when I didn't have a way to defend myself, so I will let it go. Let's just forget about that one, and let's move on. Let's move on from there. Because I wasn't there to defend myself, so I don't know all the
We just want to hear your opinion.
What do you think about the game? Avias enjoy
the game again. I'm sounding like Lai Mohammed when the Buhari government was there. How the country will get better, it will get better every press conference, and I'm sounding the same thing. I've always maintained. Like I said on the chat, Ugu, like I said, Chioma, you were there. I told you all one thing. Chelsea, yes, Newcastle didn't show us respect. They came in, they wanted to take their pound of flesh. But Chelsea is a team in transition. They're a team that is... You wouldn't expect them to go out there. They are going to be, the thing about the team in transition is they are very inconsistent. So today we could go in there and scatter mancity, play. Everybody is happy. And the next week we'll go against Brentford or go against Bournemouth and play like Houston Green Eagles or any team out there. So it's just inconsistent. And you can't, I'm not going to judge. I keep saying this. I've done my top 6. Chelsea fans are like, oh, you're not. No, my top 6, I've put my top 6. I'm not expecting anything out this season. But if next season, this same thing is happening, I'll be heading to London to personally grab Pochettino and take him out of that place. If this thing is still happening next season. Because this season, let's leave it at the boys. Pochettino is still doing his style. He's still getting things done. I'm just worried the way things are going. I thought things would have been a little bit stable by now. But the way these boys are losing concentration, the way they are playing, it just, we're going through the same cycle over and over again. So to all the Chelsea fans, I know who was the other Chelsea fan on the podcast that said we'll win the league. Bados on his smoke after smoking that Bados stuff.
After coming down from the mountain.
I know. So we'll win the league. I laugh. And let's just keep up. This week it's not going to be to all the Chelsea fans. It won't be easy. Brighton. Make sure you carry your sweat. It's winter. Get your cooling.
That's not just will beat Brighton.
Hey.
But I was disappointed with Chelsea outing and to Newcastle, right?
Let's
okay. But to end it all, just to summarize, what I said came to pass. I said the fans will be a big factor going to Tyneside. It was a big factor. And, I said it's not a game that Chelsea will just win. I know Chioma and Reggie and everybody was like Chelsea. They were tipping Chelsea. Oh, Newcastle got injuries. I said, no, This Chelsea team, so inconsistent. I'm mad. So
But
inconsistent.
watching Newcastle against PSG, you can't just conclude like that Chelsea will win that.
Yeah, I
No,
don't think
no, I mean on the chat,
Chelsea
all
will
of them, all the comrades were comrade and with you, Chelsea will win. I said no, that game. I don't think Chelsea will do well against.
I don't think I said Chelsea will win that game. I knew it was going to be a tie. I think I said it was going to be a tie, depending on how Chelsea approach the game.
You know, those the videos are out there, Reggie. We can go pull it up.
Yeah, I'll check it. Maybe, yeah. I'm being sincere. I don't think I'm rooting for Chelsea in that game. No. Okay, so let's move to Arsenal Brentford. Arsenal traveled to Brentford after watching Liverpool and City share points, and they had an opportunity to go top of the league, and that they did. Funsho, welcome to the show. Good to see you, bro. How have you been?
Thank you, guys. I'm good. Sorry, I had a few things to do before I got in late a little bit, but I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good to see you, bro. Good to see you. So let me start with you. You know, this game, of course, is we have seen these things happen in EPL so many times. When the teams in front of you drop points, everybody expects you to, take advantage of that. Most times in EPL, it doesn't happen. You end up, not taking advantage. Of course, Brentford is a team that has built a fortress at their home stadium. Most big teams don't get results there. I think they have lost only just 2 games at home in the last 2 seasons or something like that. Yeah, last season, Arsenal was the only team that beat them at home, I think, and maybe Newcastle. So it was not going to be an easy one, but Arsenal was expected to win the game. Of course, the Viraya being on loan from Brentford to Arsenal was not going to play in that game, and there was so much talk build up to that game for Ramsdale coming back, and Ramsdale had a hauler of the first 15 minutes into that game, and almost would have cost Arsenal 3 points in that game. So talk us through what you think when was the problem for Ramsdale and how Arsenal managed to survive that debacle.
I mean, I'm a big supporter of Ramsdale, and you all know that I always say that the problem is not, if it's not a priority, don't solve it. I didn't think Ramsdale's problem was something we need to solve. However, I think what happened to Ramsdale, those mistakes could have been costly. Because had Brentford converted in those 2 silly mistakes, almost 3 in some cases, and I think we'll be talking about something different now, right? Because they're probably just going to pack the bus and they're not going to try to score again. So to give us a chance. So I think what happened, I don't think it's because Ramsdale is no longer a good goalkeeper. I know when you sit on the bench a little bit, I think he's trying to play Raya's style of football. I think that's what it was. Ramsdale was his own. Now he has to distribute the ball. One ball he threw with his hand, and that was horrible. I don't know what happened in that one. What type of brain fat happened? That was horrible. He literally threw the ball at Brentford guy, and thank God for Rice. Declan Rice was the guy that saved him. Was there in the back of the goalie and to deflect the ball. Even we were lucky that Rice happened to be there because the ball could have went anywhere. There's a big goalkeeper. So what Ramsdale, I think just a panic moment. I don't want to let people down. I don't want to let the team down. I want to prove myself that I can do better than Reyes. So rather than doing his own job, he wants to prove to us that he can do whatever Reyes do. And he forgot that they're 2 different people. It's like Messi trying to be like Ronaldo. They're 2 different people. You play different style. You have to all Ramsdale was a clean sheet. He didn't have to do a lot of extra stuff that he did that almost cost us a game. And like you said, going over to what happened in the game, and people expect us to take advantage of it, right? City couldn't get it done, and Liverpool cancel each other out, right? You think like Arsenal should come out firing. For some reason, it came down to the guy that is not our favorite guy since it came. To that Chelsea guy. It came down to Kai.
My favorite.
Right? Your favorite. I said, yeah, it's not a favorite for the rest of us, right? It came down to him, and I don't know, maybe because they play my left back in an international team or something. Something worked him up. Then he came back and scored again yesterday, right? Somebody woke up the demon. I think it's a good thing for Arsenal. I like where we're going. It wasn't a prettiest win. I feel like, actually, you look at the game, they actually have more possession than us.
Yeah.
Brentford have more possession than Arsenal, which
Mhm,
kind of strange.
mhm.
You know how that happened? I don't know. But the bottom line is, yeah, we got it done.
So I think it was in the first half, but
It was in
overall,
the first half.
Arsenal had 63 points,
Yeah,
63%.
yeah. Yeah, overall, in the first half, they really had, before the first half, they have more possession, and that's kind of strange. But eventually, we have Starboy for a reason. Starboy will always come through. And I like to say something. They interview Sakai and say, what happened last year? Because people said, Arsenal not playing football anymore. And Sakai said, every time I go, I'm facing 2-3 guys now instead of just one guy. And I have to say to myself, when I watch the tape, what can I do differently? And I'm trying to improvise. And I think Sakai has found his solution, but he has to thank Trossard and those guys that have been there for him to score the goal. Because if not, this process are just nothing. And I want to hack Saka something. Whenever Martinelli sends a 10 ball across, be there to score the goal too. Maybe that would, since Jesus and Eddie are not scoring right now, maybe that would give us a good point. But I think I like what's happening. Any 3-point is good enough for me, no matter how we get it. We got it not the most beautiful way. But I think Arsenal is we're ready. I think we're a better team, even with all the injuries. We're a better team than we were last season.
Okay, I hear you. Chioma, I don't know if you remember when we are doing our preseason analysis, I mentioned that I could see what Ateta was trying to use Kai Havertz to do. There was a linkage between this Saka having the ball at the back, second post behind the defenders for Kai to not. I saw it in preseason, and he hadn't worked out all through the season. But when that goal was scored, I remember feeling that this is something that this is a route that Ateta wants to go through. People talk about Xhaka, we're missing the goals that he scored for us. And Kai has 2 goals already. And Xhaka scored 7 last season. So he's just 5 short of what Xhaka gave us. And I think he's going to get it. But there's another element to Arsenal game that they have developed this season, which I think is the reason why it looks like we're not as fluid as we were last season, which is a defensive play. In that game, Chioma, I don't know if you agree with me, Zinchenko look to be a different Zinchenko. Happy to talk about Trent defensively, but in this match, Zinchenko came alive as a defender. Yeah, Arsenal uses him most times when we play against teams that have low block to break the lines, but he also showed up in defensive situations. Saliba and Gabriel, of course, have become a rock. I even heard Ferdinand saying that 2 of them are the best pair central defense in the league. There are no 2 players that play together in that position that better than the 2 of them. And this is what you need to win titles. That he won't be shocked if Arsenal goes to win the league going this way. So what have you made about the adjustment Arteta has made on the way Arsenal plays? Do you think this will help Arsenal to cross the line eventually? This is if they stay in the title challenge.
Well, I'll just be sounding like another Arsenal fan right now. I'm sure Nimi will be over there rolling his eyes when I'm talking, even when he knows I'm telling the truth. Yeah. So I love Arteta, by the way. I see what he has done, what he's doing. I remember Ogum. I remember at the beginning of the season, Ogum was like, we're talking about how fluid we're not fluid anymore. Things like that. We're not doing this, we're not doing that. And Ogum says something that makes sense to me. He's like, he doesn't even care about fluidity anymore. Even if it's 1 goal, let's just get 1 goal, get the 3 points and go. So I see what he's doing. Yeah, I see what he's doing. Even Saka is learning to double back, double down. If they two-man you too much, you have to find another route for yourself. Do you understand? So you have him taking defense seriously. That's how I want to put it. You have him playing defensive football. Okay? He knows he has Saliba, there's Magales, there's Rice. Okay? And there's Rice. So Rice can do a bit of the mid, clean up for the defenders, just like he cleaned up for us. When my darling Ramsdale was having, because I don't blame Ramsdale, by the way, I want to take a detour. He's fighting a mental battle And it's all Arteta's fault, but let's forget about that. So do I like what Mikel is doing? Of course, I see what he's doing. I mean, if you watch the game yesterday, it will give you a clearer picture as to what he's working on. You know, if you have the opportunity, you take it. But if you don't have the opportunity, get your goal, close up, and do something. So I like what he's doing. I don't mind the 1 goal here, you know, 2 goals if we can, 6 goals when we can, and things like that. Yeah, I see what he's doing. And there's Zinchenko. Of course. Well, remember the Zinchenko of last season. You know, he was he has the raw. He was the one bringing the vibe, the energy. You know, a couple of knocks and, you know, went to injury, came back. He was like he's becoming a shadow of himself. Of course, which game should he have become the Zinchenko we all love? That should be Brentford, because you know Brentford, you know how they are. They don't even have their hitman, you know, that their guy
Yeah,
that we are interested, you know,
Yeah.
but the likes of Mbemo, Wissa, that Wissa guy that runs like, I don't know how he's doing him, but as you can see, that's game self. He didn't even, I was looking for him at some point. So that was the perfect time for Zinchenko to step up and, you know, be the guy that we need. So I thought I should just say that.
Yeah, so Ubum, let me ask you a question, Ubum.
Okay, I hope. Okay,
Before
let me
we
hear
go
your
to-
question because
Before we go to Brentford, do you think Arsenal are intentionally trying to conserve energy because of what happened last season, that most of our players, you know, tired out and eventually lost the league? Do you think it's an intentional approach this season not to go be very ferocious in our approach to games, looking, you know, getting the bodies ready for the running?
I think that's part of the plan. I'm not sure that it's completely intentional to you know, conserve energy, so to speak. But I think the intention there is to be more secure at the back. Being more secure at the back means, you know, people just kind of being conservative in their approach rather than being gung-ho and running all over the place and trying to play the best football in the country. It's more about making sure that we don't concede as many goals as we conceded last season, making sure that everybody participates in defense, right? When that is happening, then there's a bit of the creativity that you know, you have to compromise, you have to give to be able to maintain that level of solidity in defense. But please, there's something that has been running in the press, running all over the time, all over, that I just, it irks me a little bit. And Chioma just used the same words again now. Is Arteta's fault. Now, can I ask a question?
I'll answer for her. Go ahead.
For sure, exactly. This question is directed at you, right? Okay, when I was in college, I had this friend. His favorite drink was Mountain Dew.
Okay.
Right? He loved Mountain Dew. There are alternatives there. Sprite is a more illustrious name, more popular name than Mountain Dew. Limca and the rest of them, lemon-based drinks and all that, all of them were available. But this guy loved Mountain Dew. As long as Mountain Dew was available, he would take Mountain Dew over any other thing, over any other drink. But there were situations where Mountain Dew, like we know, is not the most popular of drinks, not the most available. When those ones were not around, he would take Sprite or anything close to it. But if he had his choice, he would take Mountain Dew. Now, another analogy is, if you're a Mercedes guy and by chance you're not able to afford a Mercedes, and there's a BMW, equal in status, equal in performance and all that, you will take it. Let's say you cannot afford, or you can afford a BMW or whatever. You take what you can afford for now. That's exactly what happened to Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta became Arsenal coach, and the first goalkeeper he wanted to buy was David Raya. David Raya had just helped Brentford come up to the EPL, the EPL, and Brentford refused to sell the guy. At that time, they were asking for, I think, 40 million pounds. When 40 something million was 40 something million, not now. That 40 something million is like 10 million, right? To to think of buying a goalkeeper at that rate at that time. And so Mikel was like, okay, well, let me find the next best alternative. He found the next best alternative in Ramsdale, which nobody believed in. I mean, it's not which, who nobody believed in. Everybody felt, oh man, this guy, how can you go buy somebody that's relegated for 2 seasons? But this Arteta believed in Ramsdale enough to buy him against all odds, even against people attacking both Ramsdale and Arteta online. But he helped Ramsdale get to the level where he is. And suddenly, his preferred choice became available. My brother, it takes a man with courage, conviction. It takes somebody that knows what he wants and will go for what he wants to still go back and get his first choice. For goodness sake, it's easy to bow to the narrative, right? It's easy to settle. I use a phone called OnePlus. Let me advertise for them a little bit. Their slogan is never settle. I love that slogan like crazy. Never settle is their slogan, right? If you can settle, it's easy to settle. It's convenient to settle. It's popular to settle. But my man, Mr. Ray, said his own at the beginning of the show. He said, Poch doesn't look to me like somebody that wants to win trophy. Mr. Ray's priority is trophy. He doesn't care about your football. Me, I care about football more than, so to speak, more than trophy. Everybody has what they want. And it takes a man to go for what you want. Man, let me not talk too much before I start preaching here.
And let me address that for myself and Chioma. Last year, your friend likes Mountain Dew. That was last year. The diet that fits last year was Mountain Dew, right? This year, he may still want to drink Mountain Dew, but also need better, good, balanced diet, which is a striker.
No, we're not talking about balanced diet now. No,
but I'm letting you know.
Drinks. I know about health.
I know we're talking about drinks now.
You're taking this another angle.
But see, no, I'm giving some analogy now.
As Arsenal fans, don't you like the calmness from behind when it's rare?
Man.
but what I'm trying to say is that the diet is a striker that we need this year. You need a striker. That's
a different conversation.
Now priority is what now you have to look for. Now, if you get a different conversation, you can go and get Reyes after that.
So yeah.
I'm not this argument.
This is one simple question. Don't you like the calmness from behind?
This argument is
exactly.
It's never going to end. The truth of the matter is that if you ask me, of course, in the beginning,
I think Chioma wants to say something. I think she wants to say something. But
No.
The beginning was a little bit confusing, but if you look at it like from
Chioma is going to go controversial.
Point of view, I think it's just like David Gea in the United when the issue was on over the summer. So United fans will tell you, yeah, he makes a lot of saves, but if you go and look at it very well, he creates those chaos that eventually saves them. It does not look like he saved United, but if you look at it, he's playing out from the back. He's throwing or passing ball to defenders actually cause the team to have those crises. Then eventually he comes alive and saves them. That's the same thing I look at Ramsdale. Ramsdale made a lot of saves. Sometimes he can be chaotic. He's a great shot stopper, but sometimes he's too rash. And there's something I found in the press, or a clip that's going around where Ramsdale said on camera that there was a game that Arsenal was playing. He was bored as a goalkeeper and got distracted by a bird. And I think Arsenal eventually considered a goal because of that. I know Arteta is like almost like they call him a mini Pep. He's a perfectionist. I'm sure for him to hear that from his goalkeeper, with what he says about the stakes being too high, that the margins are small, you're costing me maybe 3 points, maybe 2 points with lack of concentration. And we see that in Ramsdale's game sometimes. So if he decides to deal with that as small as that, I'm not going to condemn him. At the end of the day, we're going to judge Arteta at the end of the season. If David Raya manages to help us now to win the league or win Champions League or do something, then of course we're going to raise our hands and say, Arteta, I think your choice was right. And if you check, I know Ramsey had a lot of clean sheets last season. But so far, in terms of ratio, I think the Rare has had so many clean sheets this season.
Onana is number one, by the way. Andrew
See,
Onana is number one clean sheet, by the way.
Goalkeeper that doesn't create chaos, by the way. You don't become a top goalkeeper without creating chaos. Seriously,
yeah,
if we're going
but it's a frequency that
have this conversation, you have to create chaos.
And no, let's move on.
Edwin van der Sar,
It's controversial now. You were. That's why you didn't say one before.
This is not true now.
Yeah, even Allison in Liverpool. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm not Arsenal fan, but I feel more confident with Rares.
Yeah,
than with them.
We all know that. The thing is that
thank you,
somebody
sir.
accused Arsenal fans of being emotional with players. We want to win trophy, at the same time, don't want to hurt our players. Sometimes there's what is called tough love. Sometimes you got to tell these players, you're not good enough. We love you, but I mean, we need to do better. You need to do better.
Kai is not good enough.
Or maybe you're good, or maybe you're good enough, but not the right fit. You know, maybe somebody else fits better.
You know, so
it doesn't mean.
I remember Trossard, because of what he did one time. Arsenal fans, we always say, play Trossard. I say, are you going to play Trossard ahead of Martinelli or ahead of Saka? So, you know, then you wait for his turn. You know, Ray, I don't know if you watched that game. I don't know what you know about Brentford. Let's talk about Brentford a little bit before we round up and move to the next show. But Brentford is a very tricky team. They have been very difficult especially for big teams. They have pace up front, very difficult to break down. And most of their big games, they deploy this Nigerian guy, Onyeka. He comes and breaks everything. And actually did some good job against Arsenal, though he was also caught on the ball a few times. I don't know what you think about Brentford. Do you think they can, what do they need to do to push on to start challenging to take European places in the league?
Tony.
Well, I think I didn't watch the Brentford Chelsea Arsenal match, but I saw the highlights, and I think I had a couple people talk about it too. Brentford has been a very good team, considering where they're coming from, and I think since they lost Tony, something went wrong.
Yeah.
Like it looks like everything doesn't gel again, even though they're still playing good, but it looks like something just left them, right?
Yeah, I know it's their focal point. It's the one that
moves
others into play.
I will always believe that every coach will always have an alternative. And so since you lost this guy, it's been a long time, to have adjusted a little bit.
Yeah.
But it seems they are still struggling to find that adjustment. And with the way they are going, they've been able to sustain their game. It's already January here, and Tony will soon be back. And we hope that once Tony's back and they can refocus their game, they might still be a threat, the threat they have always been. That's how I look at them for now.
Mm-hmm.
Not paid so much attention. I'm even praying that Chelsea buys Tony when he comes back, So not really paid so much attention to them. I've been so much interested in the Liverpool, mancity, drag, because I know either of them might end up with the trophy or might give way for Arsenal to collect the trophy.
Okay. I hear you. I think we have done justice to these 3 games. And guys, I appreciate you coming for this show. Transit TV, welcome to Reggie Football Show. We are here again to look at the games for the weekend and touch base a little bit with the Champions League games that are played over the midweek. The EPL teams, of course, we know United are one leg in and out of the Champions League after playing out a 3-3 draw away to Galatasaray. Arsenal confirmed their position in their group as the winners of the group, winning 6-0 against Lens at the Emirates. Of course, City continued their 100% performance in the UCL this season. Newcastle, many say we are robbed to a 1-1 draw against PSG, making their qualification to the next round, hanging in the balance to the last match of the group. So we are going to look at the games for the weekend. This week, Newcastle, of course, is going to have another high-profile game hosting Manchester United at Tyneside Stadium. Arsenal will be hosting Wolves. Wolves is a team we know that has beat City this season, and they can be big Lions beater. As well, we'll have Chelsea hosting Brighton, and City will be at home to Tottenham Hotspur. We'll look at these games today. But before we go ahead, we'll just run through a few of the EPL teams in Champions League this week, especially Manchester United. I don't know, this something they say in Igbo language, but that thing that is crying is still crying at the with United. Funsho, I don't know, what do you pin this one to? Onana seems to, today he saves United, tomorrow he kills them. And United as a team can't just stay in a game for 90 minutes. They just have patches of flash. One minute they're running away with a match, another minute you turn around, you're wondering how did this happen. So what do you think that happened to United?
I think so. I watched the game, and I watched that game, and from bottom to end, and it's the most disorganized football that I've watched in a long time. Like I don't know, like it's very hard to watch that type of football. It's like playing FIFA. 1 minute the goal is here, the next minute the ball is there. But surprisingly, even though United act like they were doing something, they just get close. They didn't get enough shot and goal. They only have 4 shot and goal against Galatasaray, and they scored 3. But they'll get inside the box. Time to shoot. The shot is not effect, or they are too late to the ball. But then Galatasaray had more than 8 goals on shot on target, and they scored 3. Mm-hmm. And the only thing, Galatasaray was also very careless with the football, right? United also were very careless football. And with that said, I'm not going to blame Reyes, right? The reason why, I'm not going to blame Onana. The reason why Onana has been coming up is like, we have to blame somebody for something. We have to blame someone for something. The goal that you blame Onana for, the second goal, the ball hit him. His position, yes, maybe. He hit him at the wrong angle, the ball entered, right? The third goal, I don't see anybody stunned that. It's a very vicious shot, right? That enter, they can score that goal on anybody. Martinelli has scored the same goal against City one time like that. And so, to my point, what's happening with Manchester United is, I think, it's a locker room issues and the trust. The players don't trust the coach's leadership. And you can see, there's a lot of fallout with different players. Now is Casemiro's a fallout with Casemiro, fallout with Varane. There's a way to manage high talent. These guys are millionaires, are rich people. You can manage them on the field, you manage them off the field a little bit. I don't think Ten Hag is doing that too well, and it's affecting the performance we're seeing on the field. They have talent. They've spent money. He came out and went shit against Ronaldo, kicked the guy. If you want Ronaldo, a player to go because you don't like them, they're a very easy way to dismiss play. And I think this is affecting the chemistry. Everybody wants to look good. They're not trusting each other with the football. So I think a lot of the problem, even though the mistakes are happening in the back, I'll say it's starting from the front, it comes to the midfield, and the defenders are getting the punishment for it, right? Last season, Bruno Fernandes was spectacular. He scored a very fantastic goal during the game yesterday. Garnacho, and someone make a joke that he scored a bicycle kick. They thought he was going to score a wheelbarrow this time. But the guy, he didn't do much. And so they have players. You have Fernandes, you have Sancho, you have Rashford, you have McTominay, you have Onana. I'm at 45 million or something they spent for Onana. You have very good defenders, right? You have that. You have Anthony. You have that Spider-Man on the right wing. What's his name? I forgot his name from
Wan-Bissaka or something like that.
Wan-Bissaka. You have those guys. They have players, and I think they need to click. They need chemistry. If they have that, see now, even on the Premier League table, they're not far off from the bottom, right?
Yes.
They're number 6, and they're only 6 points away from number 1.
Yeah, because
that's just 2 games, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, because this is they've either lost or won. Yeah, can you imagine? Arsenal has won 9 games. United has won 7 games this season.
Yeah, and guess what? The same Onana you all don't like. He's tops one of the most clean sheet in the Premier League, even more than Reyes. So I don't think they're doing too bad. They just haven't found that gel. They have not found that glue to stick them together. If they can make it happen, they're going to be a threat to a lot of people. Sadly, the Champions League journey is probably over because I think it's over based on Bayern and the other teams. They draw yesterday. I don't think they have any hopes to go into the next round, which is also
They,
No,
they
they
do.
don't.
They do. If Bayern loses and
What kind of
they
hope
can
do
still
they have?
make it. It's still open.
that's. I don't see Bayern losing that game. Losing it up.
No,
Yeah, maybe they'll draw.
no.
Bayern is not going to lose.
You know. So
Hurricane
let me
Bayern.
touch base with you. Oh, Newcastle against PSG. For me, just like Funsho said about United and Galatasaray, I saw a PSG team that was just all over the place. They were doing bits, trying to attack Newcastle, but they were just disorganized. It looked like it's a team built for Mbappe. If it doesn't turn up, nothing happens. Dembele tried to do one or two things, but I mean, it was a little bit chaotic. Do you think Newcastle were robbed, they were hand down by, and what's your hope for them, qualifying for the next stage?
Okay, that's for me, right?
No, really.
Yeah. Right, okay. So.
Question again, sorry.
No, I said Newcastle. We saw them play against PSG. I don't know. Do you think they were robbed in that penalty? PSG was a little bit chaotic. Now, for that group, of course, it was dog, the group of death from the beginning of Champions League this season, and it has turned to be. It's only Dortmund that's qualified for the next stage. The AC Milan, Newcastle, and PSG all have chances to qualify for the next stage. What's your hope for Newcastle? They're playing at home against AC Milan, and PSG is going to travel to Dortmund, the last game of the group.
I would say the last game they played, I think even the referee accepts that he made a mistake. It was a wrong call. And I believe it was all staged. It was all staged to not disrespect PSG for what they bring. And I still believe that they might have to compensate them for that when they go home to play AC Milan. There's every chance that they are going to beat AC Milan. There's every chance. And like I say, I still pray for them and cross my fingers and hope they win. They've shown quality, they've shown capacity, they've shown that zeal and will to fight. I think I like the job the coach is doing. I think I like everything they are doing right now. It reminds me of when Mourinho came to Chelsea and the kind of battle mindset they had. I mean, yeah. The kind of battle mindset they have now. So I am praying and hoping that they play their game. If they play their game against AC Milan, they are almost going to win. That they're going to qualify. I don't think Dortmund will be putting much energy into the game again, having qualified already. So they might be featuring more of their second team. So sorry. So as it is, it's gonna be a tough call. But I'll say Newcastle qualifying.
Okay, I hear you. Chioma, I know you're blushing. Arsenal has made it to next stage in Champions League, winning their group, regardless of what happens the last day of the season, of the group, of this stage. They're going to be top of that group. Tell me about six goals to nothing, 6 different scorers, can have a second goal in 3 days, and Bukayo Saka joining the league of big names in Europe, creating a consecutive, I think 3 or 4 goals in 3 games, home games, and one of the, I think 3 top players in Europe to have created or assisted, scored or assisted 50 goals in the season. I think Suarez and all these guys were there. So talk to me as Arsenal fan. How are you feeling right now?
I feel actually good. Like I feel really good because I remember the first leg when we went to France. These Lens guys, they were just too intense. Okay, we played our game. We tried our best, but we just didn't, see a way to score more goals. So it made me believe that, there's power in, the 12th man. The 12th man being the fans, the power of the fans, like what they bring to every home game. But do I just want to attribute this win to, the game being played in Emirates? No, I think we broke them down, obviously. We broke them down. And it was just a perfect Arsenal game. I don't want to talk too much before Nimi will roll his eyes at me. Is he still here? But, it was a case of when we find the spaces, we'll make it count. Because these Lawrence guys, they weren't the first people we met in France. No, scratch that. They were the same bunch we met, but we just found a way to break them down and get our goals and win. So it was the best approach. Hence the many goals we got. Yeah, my opinion.
Yeah, so let's run through of course, City have won their group from the first day of the Champions League for this season. There's no need going through that one. Though they had a tricky start to that game, but they still came as usual.